Hello, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Jess.
She's the traumatized.
And she's the abandoned.
And
welcome
to our
our podcast.
where we talk about true crime, spooky things, and everything in between.
And today we're going to be getting into some conspiracy theories, which I'm really excited about because I haven't told you what I'm doing yet.
You haven't at all.
I'm so excited.
I can peek now.
It's what's been driving me this week. It's just holding on to the secret so tight. But yeah, how was your week?
My week was fine, but today I went downstairs to get some clean clothes because my basket of clean clothes is still next to the washer and dryer.
As it should be.
And so to get some clean clothes and towels so I can shower. And I walked back upstairs and I kind of noticed that, it was kind of bright outside. And I looked outside and we had snow.
Snow?
Yeah, we have snow. Well, it's mostly melted now, but yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, it's fucking 72 degrees here in New York.
In Kentucky, we got snow.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Yeah, it's windy and 70. It's hot if you have your windows open and you're sitting in the car. And I know this because we just did laundry. Okay. Is that all about your week?
Yeah, let's talk about you now.
I think it's a combination of me just I am very tired. Mentally drained, physically drained, emotionally drained. I am tapping out on a lot of things.
It's been a month since you've had just time to yourself. So I think you're literally crashing.
I'm on the verge of crying right now. And so because I'm welling up because of this, the universe is oh, let's fuck with her. So today has just been on a normal day. Yeah, it would have been annoying. We went to go do our laundry. When I tell you there were two families, there are 20-ish washing machines, about 25 dryers.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you two families took up every fucking one of them, that was not. It was usually we go and have a relaxing trip doing our laundry, and it's fun because it's not fun, but we make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
Today I literally had to climb over piles of laundry to get to my dryer.
Why didn't you make Tim do it?
But we both had to.
Oh.
That's the only way we can get to our fucking clothes.
Would they just
to
have
wash
it,
them because people are
on the ground,
mounded, literally mounds of laundry were in our way.
Well,
and then on the other side was the other family that had just as much. And I'm I'm not trying to talk shit. I get you have a large family, and I understand that it probably does pile up, or maybe we just got really bad luck and both of their laundry. I don't know the situations, but have a little common decency, guys. This isn't your personal laundromat. Some of us just want to get in and get out and get our shit done, and you're in my way. So move. Don't make me ask you to move. I don't want to talk to people. But yeah. So that's my vibe today. I'm really tired. So we're here.
Yeah. We were kind of talking about it before we pressed record, but we have two very different vibes today.
Yeah.
Which is it's strange for me because today I'm the peppy, happy, in a good mood person. And normally the roles are reversed. Normally you're always on the up and peppy and not dark and moody.
So I'm glad to hear you say that. And what instantly came to my mind was I'm putting on my best show. Literally me. I may seem that way, but I'm not always that way. But I do try to portray that because I feel the energy you put out into the universe is the energy you get back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bitch, I am just
the energy today is not it.
It's not it. But yeah. But it's good because I'm really excited about our topics and it'll be good. I have a semi-relaxed day planned tomorrow. So
that's good.
Yep. And I'd say next week it was going to be slow, but we're going over to Tim's family's for Saturday night. And then it's Thanksgiving. It's fine. Everything is fine. We're fine here. Your eyeshadow looks really pretty.
Thank you. I have like this mint green sweatshirt on, and I really didn't know what to pair with it. I was like a lavender, and then I just wanted sparkles, so
it looks really good.
Thank you.
It does.
Anyhow, is that it? Do we get everything off your chest?
No, but you know what? This is not my therapy session. I'll talk to. I appreciate your offer, but we're gonna power through, and it's gonna be a great episode. And then I'm gonna drink a lot tonight. So, okay. Fun fact of the day?
Yes, fun fact of the day.
I've been trying to like keep it a theme, and it's really hard with fun facts. I don't always hit it on, But today I got one. Did you know 3 presidents, all founding fathers, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, all died on July 4th?
That's interesting.
President Adams and Jefferson also died the same year. In 1826, President Monroe followed them in 1831, but they all died on July 4th.
That's interesting. Coincidence?
Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. That's gonna be a good day, guys. You know your best friends one.
Anywho, today you already know what I'm doing.
I know, and I'm so excited.
Did I ever explain to you which conspiracy theory I'm doing on the Titanic, or just did I give you the Titanic?
I think at one point we talked about different conspiracy theories. Now this might have been like pre-podcast situation. And I don't want to give anything away from your story, but I think I know the direction, and I think it has to do with a sister.
Yeah.
Okay, then I know what then yes, we've talked about it, but it's been a minute, and I definitely don't know. Like Tim was asking me about it, and I was like, I think it's something to do with that, and I was like, you're just gonna have to listen to the episode. Tell me.
So
excited.
The Titanic. There are actually many conspiracies about the sinking of the Titanic, but today I want to talk about one that interests me in particular. Now, before I start, I want to say a little disclaimer. I know the Titanic was a horrible disaster, and I don't want to make light of it. And this doesn't take away the fact that many people's lives were lost in the sinking of the Titanic. Because, yeah, this is just a fun little conspiracy theory that's probably not even true, okay?
I'm with you.
So to begin, let's first start with talking about the Titanic a little bit. The Titanic was a British passenger liner operated by the White Star Line, which sank in the North Atlantic Ocean on April 15th, 1912.
Would we get copyrighted if we had Titanic music playing in the background?
Probably. No, we need the flute, or what is it, the recorder one?
Oh yeah,
the recorder one that's not copyrighted.
It's like playing in the background of like your intro.
It struck an iceberg during her maiden voyage from Southampton, United Kingdom, to New York City, United States. The estimated 2,224 passengers and crew aboard, more than 1,500 died, making it the deadliest sinking of a single ship up to that time. Don't ask me if there's one worse than that. I don't know. I didn't look it up.
But is there one that's happened after it that was more?
I don't know.
It's like
back in 1902, 3 ships were commissioned. So we're going to go back to when they were being built. The Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. Today we're going to be talking about the Olympic and the Titanic. The Britannic wasn't even starting building by this time, I think. So it has nothing to do with this. The Olympic was the first to be built, and as the line's namesake, it was considered the lead ship. The Olympic's first few voyages were quite successful, but on her 5th voyage, she ran into serious trouble. On September 20th, 1911, while passing a military vessel, the Hawk, the Olympic made an unexpected turn. Caught off guard, the 2 ships crashed. The Olympic was able to limp back to port badly wounded.
Why do I imagine the ship actually limping? How does that happen?
So, from my understanding, because I think both ships were going parallel to each other, and then the Olympic turned in front of the other one.
Okay.
And the front of the battleship was like smushed in. I just didn't save a picture of that one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how? But how?
Obviously, they had a trial, and it would later hold the White Star Line responsible for the incident, obviously, because they turned in front of a ship. And this is where my theory comes in. Were the Olympic and the Titanic actually switched? Secretly.
So they totally just pulled a parent trap with the two ships.
That's what the theory suggests.
Interesting. I'm on board. Get it? Because we're talking about ships.
So in the theory, it is believed that the sister ships were switched before making the Olympic, therefore making the Olympic the ship that sank. So why would they do this?
Why indeed?
Because of the crash, theorists claim that the Olympic was an economic disaster. The lawsuit meant that repairs would not be covered by insurance, and it was drawing in no money while sitting around on the docks getting fixed. Okay. So the company made a switch with the idea that the true Olympic, now secretly the Titanic, would be scuttled in an accident from which the White Star Line could collect an insurance payment. But they didn't really plan on the iceberg taking out the ship earlier than planned. So my thoughts is they probably wanted to wait till they got closer to New York and then have something happen, but still have like the least amount of lives lost.
Or maybe have it like run into, like lose control and run into the port.
Or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm going to go into some evidence.
Hit me with this evidence.
I wouldn't say that these next points are completely solid evidence, but there are some strange things surrounding the launch of the Titanic. I have in quotation marks. First, the sister ships were so similarly built that most would not be able to tell the difference between them. And as before, the Olympic needed repairs for the crash it endured, so that it could have been possible that they were able to like switch them. You know what I mean? It's also said they altered the inside to look similar to the Titanic as well while it was getting repaired. According to Robin Gardner, who was a writer, conspiracy theorist, and engineer, he fully believed this conspiracy theory. And I believe he wrote a book on it, but he's since passed.
Okay.
But according to him, due to the crash that the Olympic endured, the ship had damaged the central turbine's mountings and bent the keel, giving the ship a slight permanent list to port. And do you remember what list means from our Fitzgerald episode?
Yeah, it just leans.
Yeah, it leans. So it was leaning to the left. And the Titanic indeed had a list to port while leaving Southampton. This was also backed up by actual passengers who mentioned a list to the ship while aboard, like when they wrote in their journals and whatnot.
Ooh.
Though there was one difference, and that was the portholes on the front of the ship. When the Titanic was pictured being built, it had 14 very evenly spaced portholes. But when it left Southampton on its maiden voyage on April 10th, it had 16 unevenly spaced portholes. And the name on the ship had seemingly shifted as well.
Oh my God.
Another thing was the portholes on sea deck was that the Titanic portholes were photographed as wide and evenly spaced, whereas the portholes on the Olympic were slim and unevenly spaced.
Very interesting. Wow. Okay.
But that is not the only evidence. There are people who had built the Titanic in the shipyard in Belfast that over the years had come out and said that the ships were swapped. Paddy Fenton had told his fellow seamen that they were switched, but the workers were threatened, and that's why no one spoke up. Quite interesting fact about the voyage is that the owner, J.P. Morgan, and 50 other first-class passengers canceled going on the trip. JP Morgan canceled his trip at the last minute due to him being ill health, but was spotted 2 days later in France and appeared to be of perfect health.
He knows. He knows.
White Star Line chairman J. Bruce Ismay, his wife, and their children also canceled last minute due to her health, but then they were spotted on a motoring holiday in Wales just a few days later. JP Morgan also had 7 valuable bronze statues removed 1 hour before the ship left. This led many to believe that they knew something was going to happen, especially when JP Morgan had publicly spoke out to the country and certified that he would definitely be aboard the ship for its voyage.
Interesting. Very interesting. Like, here's the thing. If that's the case, why him? Who gets to play God like that? Anyways, nope.
It is also said that JP Morgan had his enemies aboard the ship.
Oh, JP Morgan gets to play God. Got it.
It is true that some businessmen who disagreed with Morgan about a Federal Reserve were aboard and did perish.
Wow. Interesting. This plot just gets thicker and thicker.
Another unusual fact, the supposed Olympic was taken out of service in 1935, and part of the wood paneling and other parts, including the aft first class staircase, was taken and used in the White Swan Hotel in Alnwick, UK. And if I say that wrong, I'm sorry.
We're not from there.
Yeah. But that's not the unusual part. The part is that the paneling used shows the number on the frame. Paneling. Like wood paneling. Used shows the number on the frame that says 401. Which was the number given to the Titanic when it was being built in Belfast. So basically, when they were building the ships, each ship was assigned a number, and each part that belonged to those ships would have its own, the parts would have the number on them. And 401 was the number given to the Titanic. However, the number should have been 400 because that was the number assigned to the Olympic.
Right.
So.
Interesting. There's a lot of facts for this, and I'm impressed.
Thank you. I'm convinced. I did a lot. Another thing is that when you look at any advertising done for the Titanic, all of the picture used were actually those of the Olympic. And did they do that as a way of kind of, what's it called? Like a suggestive idea. Right. Like they're trying to suggest.
Oh, there's a word.
The masses of what to expect. Anywho, another interesting fact, and kind of my last interesting fact, was that the Titanic was not allowed for public examination before its voyage, supposedly to keep out experts who would recognize it as the Olympic. What are your thoughts?
I mean, damn.
So,
I think that's pretty solid evidence. That's crazy.
But who would I be if I didn't, give you both sides? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's nice of you.
So now that I've given you some things to support this theory, I suppose.
Now that you've tricked me into believing it, you're gonna.
I'm gonna give you the things that people say debunk this theory.
Okay.
Insurance fraud. That's the first point that we're going to cover is the insurance fraud.
Okay.
Because suppose that they did this for the insurance, right? Experts say that this wouldn't make sense because the insurance that they had got only covered a fraction of what the Titanic was worth. So the Titanic was built for like over $7 million, and the insurance that covered the Titanic was only like $5 million. But here's my thoughts on this situation. I can see why they would say that, but at the same time, if you're like, well, I mean, she's already a money pit, let's just lose her at a loss of $2 million and like move on. You know what I mean? Because that's what people do.
Right, you're still getting something back
from what it was.
Absolutely nothing. All right.
So in that debunking isn't really solid for me. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Because businesses
gotta try harder than that.
Yeah, businesses and like business people, they do things at a loss all the time. like new business ventures, they fail. Well, they take what they can and try something else.
Did you know the whole thing? I know it's a hot topic right now, but Elon Musk, like Tesla wasn't profitable for the first like 15 years it existed. Like he was dumping money into
I never
it
heard of it until
it was not profitable. He lost so much money on it until it finally hit. So like new business ventures, they go into losses all the time. 100%.
So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the list or the lean of the ship. And people say that the list could have been attributed to uneven packing of the cargo, but like, sure, okay, I'll give you that. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll give you a half point.
Maybe,
which
I don't know.
Brings us to 0 because the last one was a negative half point. So
it's just a way to explain it. I don't know. This is what it is. The portholes. Experts say that the Titanic had 2 extra portholes added later, but they say nothing for the other portholes. But also the pictures of the ships could have been swapped or mislabeled because, as I showed you before, I claim that the Olympic is on top and the Titanic is on bottom. But in this picture, you can see the windows. And the Titanic was actually the one that had the sporadic windows. Or was it? Which picture is correct?
Is real.
Because these pictures are labeled by, whoever wanted to label them.
Right.
Which one is which at this point? Because you can't find, I can't find solid evidence of the ships being built of that section of the ship. Like when you see them in the shipyard, you just see like the circular portholes. You don't get to see the rest of the ship. So how can I prove which ship is which at this point?
You can't. How can anybody? Ooh, that's really interesting. Okay.
So saying you debunked this because of pictures is really not it for me. You know what I mean?
I don't buy it.
Right? The workers. There was only one guy who ever came out, that Patty guy or whatever, and he didn't really come out and say it. An Australian wrote a letter to a newspaper saying that he overheard a conversation between Patty and his son, and what he wrote in the letter, it just sounded like a bunch of nonsense. To be honest, because Patty doesn't come out and say, "Oh, the Titanic was swapped." It was like, I don't know. It's
strange,
interesting,
very.
The canceled trips, which I think was one of the most interesting points of this, is JP Morgan went around the country saying, I'm going to be on the ship. I'm going to be on the ship. And then he wasn't. And he canceled it last minute. But some say he canceled his trip to go to France to protect some purchases of his because France was changing a policy or something about like Americans buying French stuff. It was confusing, but basically he wanted to protect something of his purchases. JP's enemies. It cannot be confirmed that these people would have voted against him in the Federal Reserve that Morgan had wanted to implement. So it can neither be confirmed nor denied if these people would have voted for his Federal Reserve or not. So, I mean, who knows? The mislabeled wood is interesting. Mislabeled parts. It could be possible for the parts to have been accidentally mixed up because the ships were built side by side. But at some point, the Olympic was finished before the Titanic. So why would the Olympic have Titanic numbers in it? I don't know. I'm confused. It's confusing.
Right?
Why? And lastly, the advertising. This could have been done to cut costs. They didn't want to pay to have all new photographs to advertise for their new ship, and they were sister ships, so they basically looked the same. I can see that,
right?
That's possible. At the end of the day, I think the switch could have been possible. I think it could not have been possible. My thing is, after looking into this for a week, there's no solid evidence to support either side at this point. It's a lot of hearsay and left up to experts, but how much weight can we put on experts who weren't there 100 years ago? So
I don't know.
What do you think?
So interesting. I mean, I agree with you. The conspiracy lover inside of me wants to just straight up like
believe it.
Yeah, and be like, okay, yep, no, that's real. Because the debunking, I feel like, was just such like a quick cleanup of like trying to explain stuff away, but they didn't really. You know what I mean?
Remember what I was saying to you earlier when I was like researching it while we were in the party together, and I was like, I don't understand. They're saying they're debunking it, but all they're saying is is something, but it doesn't actually debunk what they're trying to debunk. Like, it's very like, oh, it's not true. Just trust me, it's not true. Okay.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the sweet and sour chicken I got last night, where they all looked the same, but yeah, I bit into one. There was no fucking chicken in it. That's what your debunking is. Your debunking is just a bunch of breaded bread that's fried with no chicken in it. There's no actual facts behind it. It's just there. I don't believe it.
So yeah,
very interesting. Thank you for that. That's really good.
And I mean, big corporations and governments have covered up less things. So it's not that hard to believe that it's not possible.
No, it's really not. And I think that's what's interesting too, is like the more you really think about it, the older I get, the more I believe like conspiracy theories could actually happen, because it's like they're trying to hide everything from us. Like, we're sheep.
Yeah.
Anywho,
what are you talking about? Because I have no idea. I really have no idea.
So I am talking about Satanic Panic.
Oh. I was not expecting that.
Right? I know. I started looking into it and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm hoping you have the same reaction.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know what it is, back in the 80s, 90s, a wave of troubling accusations swept across North America. Americans became convinced that there was an underground network of Satanists who were working together to kidnap, torture, and abuse children. Of course, none of it was real, but these conspiracy theories destroyed lives and livelihoods. So actually, I'm kind of doing a little twisty twist, and I'm going to be debunking the conspiracy theory of Satanic Panic.
Love that.
Because people thought Satanic Panic was
a real thing.
A conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
It wasn't, and we're going to go into why. They were terrifying tales of secret satanic cults bent on tormenting and corrupting the young. This included heavy metal music having hidden satanic messages, possibly satanic messages on some rock music recordings. If they were played backwards, they would have subliminal messages, which is like still a thing that I've heard. Side note, it's crazy showing my age here. I do remember one of the biggest fights my parents got into was when my mom made my dad burn all of his hard rock CDs, like Metallica, all of them when I was really young, aka the early 90s.
No way.
Yeah.
She made it? Like he actually did
burn them. Yeah, all of them. All of them.
Wow.
Games like Dungeons and Dragons, shout out, were luring kids to devil worship, which I also found really interesting that the most recent season of Stranger Things really did an interesting take on this. The whole Satanic Panic. That's what that was. Like they really thought the Hellfire Club, not really spoilers, but they thought the Hellfire Club was a cult, a satanic cult, because they were playing Dungeons and Dragons. Guys, there's nothing satanic about Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, you're fighting evil, you're destroying demons, like you're killing demons. Literally. You're not worshiping them. Well, I mean, no. You
could.
Depends on what your patron is sometimes. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're getting to the nitty gritty. You know what I mean? Because it's just classes. It's just classes and races that you choose and go into. It's all
fight
about
monsters.
Your perspective.
You fight monsters and stuff.
Yep.
And
it's all about perspective, guys.
It's really fun.
It is really fun. I miss it.
I miss it too.
And it actually got stranger from here. So preachers started doing exorcisms in church. A specific example was Pastor Roy Masters, who had, get this, a background background in show business rather than theology, and he would perform exorcisms in the middle of church sermons. Like, he would just literally walk up and be like, I feel it, I feel him in you, and then they would start like, oh my god, like they'd start talking like a demon voice. Like, he would legit start doing exorcisms in the middle of church, and like people would start shaking.
So my question is, was this across like all North American Christian groups?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Catholics and
I see
Protestants and
Baptists.
Baptists.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it was like sect specific. Maybe I could see it being like, rise up against the satanic cults, and it gave everybody something to kind of like rally behind.
I can definitely see like the Catholics preaching like in the middle of their service, but they would definitely never do it. Exorcism.
I feel like that was definitely like,
I feel like
Southern Baptist.
Yeah, that's very, very showy.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yo.
But I can totally see like a Catholic priest in the middle of like just a Easter ceremony, like going into like talking about the devil's arising and stuff. Yeah. Not that ever happened.
Never,
in
ever.
my Catholic experience.
Did you know the Army officially recognized Satanism as a legitimate religion and supplied chaplains with a guide for ministering to a satanic soldier?
Are you going to explain what Satanism actually is?
Well, no, because this is all absolute bullshit. Like,
there is actually Satanism, though.
Correct, but that's not what this is. They're very different.
Yeah.
Some believed that army bases had become sanctuaries for devil worshippers. Dude, this gets crazy. You ready?
No.
I guess this is probably my only buckle up moment. Well, I don't know.
Okay. I don't like that.
There's also
I didn't have any buckles this week.
No, you didn't. We had a very nice smooth coasting, It was very interesting. There's also a theory of UPC, which is Universal Product Codes, and the number 666 being hidden within it.
Aren't those randomized?
They are, but this is a quote. Most people don't realize that 80% of all toys on the market have occultic influence, and these are the most popular. Like, they legit had people thinking, all right, this is crazy. And one of the satanic awareness documentaries, let me repeat that slowly. Satanic awareness documentaries. So bringing awareness to the satanic activities in your life. It showed this older, like, black toy which had wings on it. You know, the ones that would like start powering up and then they lift up and start flying on their own,
like the fairy ones that would like
kind of. Yeah, but this one was more like, it was a little thicker, and it wouldn't go up as high. It would just kind of flap a little bit and start to take off. We're looking at it, and as it started to take flight, the interviewer said, "It's that amazing. Remember those verses in the book of Revelation about the flying beast and the riders on them? This could actually be taken from Revelations, and your children are playing with it."
What?
Like, it was crazy. They even went as far to compare Smurfs, because they were blue with black lips, to death, because people would turn blue when they died and their lips turned black. So they thought they were like subliminal messages in Smurfs.
Yikes.
Like, I didn't realize how deep this went.
Were you not allowed to watch Smurfs as a kid?
No, I wasn't. I don't know. No, I'm dead ass. I don't know if that's why or if there were other reasons, but I was never allowed to watch Smurfs. Maybe that was why.
I don't even know what channel Smurfs was on. So
in 1983, the panic exploded with the McMartin preschool trial. I guess we buckle up here.
Oh God, what?
In which California parent accused daycare owners of sexually abusing their son. This is a quote from the trial. "The dark world of ritualistic child abuse. There's a widely held opinion that what happened at the daycare was the devil's handiwork. Police then sent a letter to parents warning that their children may have been abused, urging the parents to ask what turned out to be leading questions to a bunch of suggestible preschoolers. Can we all guess how that worked?"
Wait, so was there actual abuse or no?
We'll get there.
Okay. Can't
Further questioning by authorities. No. Stop it. Further questioning by... This is how... All right. For listeners and viewers, this is how she is on every fucking TV show we watch, every movie she watched. Like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna survive? Are they gonna stay together? I'm like, just watch.
Just tell me. Just tell me.
No, you wait. Okay. Further questioning by authorities continued in this vein, yielding alleged eyewitness accounts by children of networks of secret tunnels and witches flying through the air. So the children are now stating that there's a network of secret tunnels and there are witches flying through the air.
They're children.
After 7 years, the daycare owners were eventually acquitted or had the charges dismissed. One was jailed for 5 years while they were awaiting trials and retrials. So, to answer your question, no, all the allegations were not true.
What the fuck?
In the meantime, tales of underground networks of Satanists were infiltrating daycares and preschools to physically and sexually abuse children in occult rituals. Most were spurred on by now discredited methods of questioning small children, some as young as 2 years old. These methods often led to children making sensational accusations because they wanted to please the authority figures questioning them.
Yeah. Like nowadays, don't you have to have like a psychiatrist interview children?
Yeah. Especially with children. Yeah.
Because they're not going to lead you with the question. They're just,
exactly.
They know how
they're going to let you come to
talk to children like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Without leading them.
I mean, that's how like false confessions happen. People, they just want to go home and they.
Oh man, that's a whole nother topic too.
That's in the chaotic chat ideas section.
Because it's definitely true. Much of which fueled the panic was not real, but these claims led to a wave of high parole criminal trials in the U.S., Canada, and beyond. These cases often followed a similar pattern. An initial report of physical or sexual abuse at a daycare would take life of its own. Children would begin talking or drawing animal sacrifices, blood rituals, secret tunnels, and even cannibalism. Police would lay charges, prosecutors would take them to court, and the media would report uncritically on what seemed to be the growing threat.
So my thought is, are these kids just hearing their parents like freak out about this shit and then just like drawing it, and then the parents are like, they did this out of nowhere. How are they doing this when they were literally
and imagine like
putting the ideas in their head?
And then if they admit it, then they're praised. They get things out of admitting this. Some cases would fall apart at trial or during appeal. Others resulted in wrongful convictions. Many of the accused spent years in prison, while others faced financial ruin and damaged reputation. So, not so fun fact, just like throwing this in there, you realize the entire basis of Nightmare on Elm Street, aka the story of Freddy Krueger, is based upon something very similar, where the children were all questioned, stories started to come out that he was sexually assaulting them, so the parents took matters into their own hands and killed him. And that's the basis of Freddy Krueger, and then he comes back and haunts the kids that abused him, that accused him. Now, the remake, actually, I think the remake suggested that he actually did abuse them. But I think the original was that he was innocent, and then they just didn't like him, so they accused him. As it turns out, the Satanic Panic may have had its origins in Canada. The panic grew out of the idea that memories of abuse were often repressed, and they could be recovered with the help of hypnosis and a therapist. The idea was popularized in 1980 book Michelle Remembers that was co-written by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Padster and the patient that he eventually married, Michelle Smith. Red flag.
You're not supposed to marry your patient.
Marry your patient.
Bad vibes.
In this book, Michelle recovers memories of a supposed tearing initiation into a secret cabal of Satanists operating near Victoria, British Columbia. This is a quote. They would put me in cages. They would sacrifice animals. They would have a lot of candles and chanting and bizarre things I had never seen. End quote. And this basically provided the template for allegations of satanic ritual abuse that followed. The craziest part of the story, for me at least, is that there was no evidence or witnesses to Smith's account. Yet the psychologist presented the book as it was a true story. So there was no evidence backing up what he discovered.
Wow.
But yet they published this book. It was a very pivotal book and very successful with like little to no evidence. I don't think they had any.
Wow.
So the doctor's excuse for the no evidence, you ask, and this is his quote, that hard evidence is difficult to find because if a child is sacrificed, the child's body isn't going to be left. If it is an Orthodox Satanic cult, they are going to burn the body and they are going to eat it during the ceremony so that they leave no evidence around. That's not how that works. First of all, if you eat a body, there's gonna be bones. Nobody fucking eats the bones unless you're grinding them up. But still, let's be real. Second of all, if the idea of all these satanic cults is to cannibalize them, eat them, burn their bodies, why are all these allegations coming out of the abuse? Why aren't they just dying? I'm not trying to be crude. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, no.
It's the nobody eats bones for me.
Do you just sit there and munch on bones? Because I don't. I mean, we're not cannibals, so maybe I don't know. But
I mean, a good T-bone, you know, back in the day.
But you still don't eat it. You might chew on it a little, but like
that's true.
Yeah, like anyway, yeah. So that was his reasoning for no evidence.
Okay, sure. Mm-hmm.
So Michelle Remembers is also one of the first books to suggest that the underground satanic networks were not only real, but infiltrating communities in an organized effort. This put the real fear out there that anyone could be a Satanist, your next door neighbor, your dentist, or your daycare provider. This book became an overnight sensation, so much so that Padzer and Smith received a lucrative publishing deal, which equated to $1.2 million in today's money.
What? Wow.
It also established Padzer as the sought-after expert on, quote, burgeoning phenomenon of ritual abuse, end quote, which of course was the term that he created for himself. There was even talk of a movie deal at one point.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So anyway, circling back to the McMartin preschool trial, where the 7 daycare workers were accused of ritually abusing children, Padzer was flown down to Florida to be an expert consultant in the satanic cults for prosecution.
No.
Yep. In another ritual abuse case in Bakersfield, California, Michelle Remembers was used as a training material by social workers who believed they had uncovered the extensive satanic pedophile ring. Again, if children are being eaten and sacrificed, they're not being... Never mind. Anyway. Specialists in satanic ideology were suddenly in high demand as more and more ritual abuse cases went to trial. In Austin, Texas, another self-styled satanic cult expert used to secure the convictions of daycare owners Dan and Fran Keller, who spent decades in prison before being exonerated. Decades. It became increasingly common to see ritual crime training seminars led by psychologists, church groups, and even the police.
This is insane. This is
right?
Literally insane.
I had no idea. The commercial success of Michelle Remembers, of course, inspired dozens of copycat memoirs, which further amplified the perception that satanic ritual abuse was widespread, but there was never any evidence of any satanic conspiracy. The pinnacle was Geraldo Rivera's infamous NBC special Devil Worship, Exposing Satan's Underground, which aired on October 28th in 1988. Rivera rallied on a self-proclaimed Satanism experts, misleading and inaccurate statistics, crimes with only tenuous links to Satanism, and sensationalized media reports. It was the most viewed documentary in television history. There are over 1 million Satanists in this country, Rivera said, adding that the odds are they're in your town too.
Quote it. Put it on a t-shirt.
Probably did. In a 1992 report on ritual crime, FBI agent Kenneth Lanning concluded that the rampart rumors around ritual Satanism were unfounded. Weird. This is 1992. And this is a long quote from him. All the people network with each other, and they'd all get together and go to seminars and discussions, and they'd be told, this is what Satanists do, and this is how they do it. And so all this is planted through the use of these kind of techniques, hypnosis, and in other ways that case the spread of this kind of stuff. So that many people say, well, you can't identify these cases unless you've been trained to learn about them. And then some of the training becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, which you see like in a lot of cases. Then in 1994, a psychologist from University of California researched over 12,000 accusations of ritual abuse, but found no substantiated reports of organized satanic groups who sexually abused children. 12,000 cases, and none of them had substantial evidence. In later years, as the panic died down, Pazzer tried to distance himself from the claims he had made, and Michelle remembers.
Oh, interesting.
His last known quote was, "I'm not there to believe or not believe. I'm there to try and understand what they're trying to tell me of an experience, whatever that has actually happened to them, or that is their way of trying to express a profound pain that they've experienced."
What?
So he was like literally backpedaling.
Wow.
And of note, neither he nor Michelle ever publicly renounced the book's allegations, but Philip Stevens Jr., associate professor of anthropology at the State University of New York at Buffalo, what up, stated that the widespread allegations of crimes by Satanists constituted the greatest hoax perpetrated upon the American people in the 20th century. This strange period of moral hysteria serves as a reminder of what can happen when we abandon the pursuit of facts for the more sensational fiction. The biggest question is, have we as a society learned our lesson?
No.
No. Not even a little.
Not even close.
So yeah, that is my take on the Satanic Panic conspiracy of the 80s and 90s.
Insane.
Like I had no idea. I thought it was going to be like, oh, look at this. This is a nice little, story. And then it ended up getting so much. Like, I didn't realize how many daycares have been like taken. You know what I mean? Like
that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So poor father had to burn all of his CDs.
That too was just a mixture of, I know we kind of touched base on it, and I don't want to talk too poorly, but I think too it was a lot of control issues as well, and him not being able to be his own person.
Yeah.
So I think that was also a mixture. I think possibly as most probably use the Satanic Panic, as we just talked about it, you use religion for your own gain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you use that as the excuse, but really deep down there's other reasons.
You just don't like it, and you want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Because you really didn't like that kind of music. So now you got an excuse. Anyway, that's it for this episode. We made it. Record time too, by the way. Although I'm gonna have so much, I'm just gonna have to edit like half of my shit out. It's good. It'll be good for the TikToks. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to follow us, leave a comment, and if you're watching on YouTube, hi. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We love every single one of our subscribers and people who give us love. Comment. Seen a couple comments. Let's see some more. I love it when you guys talk to us. Makes us feel loved. Your turn.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with our username at TTATA Podcast. And in the bio of all of our social medias is our link tree, which has our emails. Send us some ideas. Send up some criticism. And that's anything at this point. A smiley face emoji. We'll take anything.
Guys, seriously, Nikki works so hard on our TikToks. They're usually where we post a lot of our behind the scenes stuff. So if we mess up a word, which I literally do so much, she posts them on TikTok.
I posted a blooper yesterday of my aggressive hello. And
hello.
If you want to know what that's about, head over to our TikTok, because
do it.
I ended up crying.
Do it.
Anyways,
we laughed so hard. We have so much fun. But a lot of this, because we're trying to keep our episodes a little shorter, we end up cutting out, like, you know, some bloopers, obviously, and some stuff that we talk about behind the scenes. So if you want to go see what that's about, go check us out on TikTok.
Yeah, we save some tangents too. Like,
a lot of tangents.
In the future, I'll be releasing some TikToks of our own therapy sessions we did with each other.
Thanks for listening, guys. Next week, we are going to be doing a chaotic chat. I believe this one we're specifically going into, the bystander effect.
Oh. We are on a chaotic chat already. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy how fast every time is just flying by. So fast. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that next week, which we'll just have to get together at some point this week and do some research on it. And the whole bystander effect is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of touched a little bit on it for the Kendall Francois story, but there's so many examples of it.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll
be diving into that.
Yeah. Super excited, actually.
And with what?
I said super excited, actually.
It is.
It's probably going to be their first chaotic chat where we're actually going to research it together. Like, do it together.
Yeah. We'll do it together. And with that, we're going to leave you with this inspirational quote.
Optimus.
B1. No.
Basically, this is a definition type scenario. Okay. So optimist, right? Someone who figures that taking a step backward after taking a step forward is not a disaster. It is more like a cha-cha. By Robert Brault.
Oh, I like that. That's cute.
Isn't it?
But yeah, guys, thanks for listening again. Appreciate every single one of you. Amazing people. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.